All right, so I'm gonna start this video a little unorthodox and I'm gonna make a very bold statement. Motivation is bullshit. Instead of focusing on motivation, which is the most unreliable source when it comes to achieving anything, because it's gonna come and go. Motivation is so attached to our emotions, and if you're honest with yourself, you know your emotions are all over the place. So let's stop depending on motivation and let's focus on building habits and let's focus on increasing our discipline. Now, this word discipline is like a curse word because most people associate discipline with sacrifice, with not being able to have fun, with not having pleasurable things. Discipline is really the key to freedom, right? Because most of us, we're so addicted to pleasure and comfort. And if you are addicted to pleasure and comfort, and listen, I still love my pleasure, I still love my comfort, but I've recognized that I had to free myself. I had to detach from my addiction to pleasure and comfort. And I'm gonna go deeper into that. And listen, obviously you can tell by now that this video is not for everyone, right? This subject matter, this level of conversation is not for everyone. This is not for the people who are okay with mediocre. These type of conversations are for winners. This level of conversation is for people who are trying to elevate. This level of conversation is for people who are trying to evolve into the next iteration of human capabilities. So the first step, I believe, to developing discipline, you have to convince your mind. You have to educate your mind on why discipline is mandatory. You have to convince it. If your mind isn't convinced, if your mind isn't educated on the value of how developing discipline is going to change your life, you're going to get resistance. You're going to get pushback from yourself, right? So the first thing is you need to internalize why discipline is the key to your freedom. As a person who was lazy, as a person who was addicted to comforts and pleasure, and I was always at the whim of my emotions and my dick, let me tell you, the disciplined life has given me way more mental peace. When your life revolves around pleasure and comfort, you may think that's fun, right? That's the fun that the people who associate discipline with not having fun, that's the fun that they're talking about, is the indulgence, the overindulgence in pleasure, whether that's sex, whether that's alcohol, whether that's food, whatever it is that you can't control yourself over. These indulgences that you call fun are the source of all of this suffering in your mind. Again, this is higher level conversation, guys. This is not for everybody. You want to create a positive mental environment. When you're not controlled by your dick, when you're not controlled by your urges to overconsume foods that destroy you, you have freedom. You have to make an investment into the development of this discipline in order for you to access the freedom that you truly want. The financial freedom, the peace, the happiness, the love, the success. You have to become the person who adds the value to the world that makes him deserve or make her deserve that life. And again, if you love mediocrity, if you're okay with regular degular schmegler, then this don't apply to you, right? I'm talking to my winners right now. So Abraham Lincoln had one of my favorite definitions of discipline. He said, discipline is choosing between what you want now, in the moment, right now, instantly, and what you want most, later, greater, bigger, better. A big part of discipline is remembering and keeping your eye on what you want most. You want a six-pack next summer, or do you want that cupcake right now? Which one do you want most, right? You have to make that choice. And making the choice for what you want most, for what you want later, the big prize, is the definition of discipline in a nutshell. All right, but on a serious note, one of the disciplines that may be overlooked, but absolutely changed my life was developing a face routine. So I want to take a moment right now to thank our sponsor, T. Hanley. Prior to T. Hanley, this skin did not look like this. So they made skincare super simple. I started with the level 1 system, and it comes with a daily face wash, an AM moisturizer, a PM moisturizer, an exfoliating scrub, and there's a few other things in the box that it comes with. The box has the instructions, and this is what I think makes the T. Hanley system the most valuable, is because they take the guesswork out. You don't have to think about it, right? It has a card that outlines exactly what you should do, how much you should use, when you should use it. It's an amazing resource that they include in their package. And because T. Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they have a special discount for your first order. You can get 30% plus a free gift. All right, so click the first link in the description and take advantage of this offer. Thank you, T. Hanley, for sponsoring today's video. All right, so let's get into the steps of how to increase your discipline. So step 1 is you want to understand on a very deep level your strengths and your weaknesses. Self-awareness is pivotal. If you don't know yourself, if you're not able to be honest with yourself about your strengths, about the things that you need to work on, about where to focus, then you're not going to be able to develop discipline because you can't heal what you don't reveal, right? If you don't know what you need work on, how can you work on yourself, right? So that's the first thing. You got to take an honest assessment of yourself. Ask the people in your life who you trust, who know you well, who love you, who have good intentions for you. Ask them, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What can I be better at? Get a full understanding, not just from your own perspective, but from everyone else's perspective in your life. Again, I want to highlight, make sure that they're trusted people who love you and know you. So that's the first step, is to gather that information, sit with it. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to fucking sting, but it's okay, right? Because this is the whole point of personal growth. You have to understand yourself, see what you need to improve, and then you make the strides. All right, so step 2 is you want to create an environment that sets you up for success. Now, you're going to have to be ruthless about this. If you want to really increase your discipline quickly, you have to be ruthless about making sure that you are, I mentioned this in a previous video, creating a cocoon that allows you the space and the peace to focus on working at yourself. You don't want to be trying to stop drinking, but constantly finding yourself in a bar. That's so simple, right? It sounds like elementary shit here, but you'll be surprised how many people are not intentional on this level. Create an environment that sets you up for success at developing the disciplines that you're trying to develop. If you're trying to develop better eating habits, make sure that you get all the junk food out of your house. Do not go to restaurants that have 3,000, 4,000 calorie meals that you can't resist. Don't go. Put yourself in environments that set you up for success. You have to be intentional, especially in the beginning. That way you can create some momentum, because the key to developing disciplines is consistency. So that leads me to step 3. You have to have a systematic approach to developing discipline. You have to know yourself in order to figure out the strategy, the right approach for you. You have to know your strengths. You have to know your weaknesses. You have to know your capacity. It doesn't make sense for you to try to do too much at once, right? Trying to work on 3 disciplines at once if you know you don't have the bandwidth, the mental and emotional bandwidth to do that, right? If you know that you have to do things slowly, then you start off with 1 discipline. Maybe your first discipline is to consistently make your bed, and that's it. And you focus on doing that for 2 months, 3 months, and then you start adding more disciplines. But if you know that you have more capacity, maybe you start off with something a little bit more challenging. I have several disciplines in my life, but it took me 9 years to stack all of these disciplines. Right now, I meditate, I do breath work, I journal, I exercise, I eat healthy. All of these disciplines that has created freedom. I'm no longer controlled by my dick. I'm no longer controlled by my urge to hang out. I'm no longer controlled by the idea of attracting women or getting attention. I'm no longer controlled by foods. Like, this shit is freedom. And trust me, I know this is higher level conversation that is not for everyone, but if you're still watching this, that means you're a G. That means you are ready to ascend to the higher levels of life. You're able to access the gifts that most people will never access, right? And the gifts, let me be very clear, it's not financial things, even though those are part of the gifts that you get from developing discipline. But the true gift is freedom, is confidence in yourself. The gift is not giving a fuck what nobody thinks about you, because you know who you are. You know you are solid. All right. These are some of the gifts that discipline delivers. All right. So step 5, make sure that you get accountability and support. We are tribe animals. We are pack animals. We don't do things by ourselves. I need support. I need guidance. I have mentors. I have accountability groups. I have accountability partners. I hire coaches. Hire a coach. If you want to work with me one-on-one, there's a link in the description for you to sign up for a discovery call. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not cheap. So if you're penny pinching, I understand that. I have other resources for you. But if you're ready to commit and invest in yourself, then click the link and sign up for a discovery call, because I want to work with you. I only want to work with winners. I don't want to work with people who have victim mentalities. I don't want to work with people who have a shit ton of excuses. We're getting on the phone so I can discuss things with you and sign you up. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I'm just being very clear. All right. But if you're ready, hit the link in the description, sign up for a discovery call. You will talk to me directly. All right. So to wrap this up, discipline has to be understood on a deep, deep level. You have to internalize the value. You have to understand how potentially life-changing it is for you to commit to the process of developing discipline, because it takes a burning desire. It's not an easy feat. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like the shit is easy. It's not. But there's nothing more rewarding than developing the discipline and applying this discipline and watching your entire reality change. How people treat you, how much money you make, the nature of your relationships, how much respect you get when you walk in a room. It all changes when you develop discipline. The amount of respect and trust that you gain for yourself. Listen to me. There's nothing like it. All right, I'm gonna wrap this one up. Hit the like button. I appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed this video, check out this one, because I go in on that one as well. All right. And as always, the body that you want is owned by a higher version of yourself. So evolve. Peace.